Groundwork Poles number 3 is a little easier to set up than Groundwork Poles 1 and 2, as all exercises use the same pole formation. As you can see, I have a line of cones and mine are approximately spaced a metre apart. However, you might want to change this distance depending on the size of your horse and their level of training. I simply begin by weaving in and out of the cones, going up the line and then back down again, asking Elsa to bend laterally as she moves from rein to rein. I'm looking for the inside hind to come towards the midline each time she turns, and looking for even flexion in her shoulders and neck. Exercise 2 is a similar exercise to one used in Groundwork Poles number 2. However, this time I've only raised alternate poles. By raising the poles, you ask the horse to lift the limbs higher, and this engages the core muscles because the limb is off the ground for longer and it challenges their balance. Only raising alternate poles also adds a proprioceptive challenge. I walk Elsa up and down the line, each time asking her to cross the line of poles with her inside forelimb leading. As well as engaging the core muscles, this exercise laterally flexes the spine and also engages the thoracic sling. Exercise 3 puts exercises 1 and 2 together. The horse walks up the line of poles, which activates the core muscles and the thoracic sling, and then returns down the poles, and that asks for the spinal flexion. Then we go back up the poles to engage the other muscle chains for a second time. Activation of the muscle chains is what develops strength, rather than lots of continued practice, which can sometimes cause fatigue. Therefore, by switching from one exercise to another, activation occurs to help develop strength without causing fatigue. In exercise 4, you complete a serpentine to cross the poles. You begin by crossing the poles head on and then making the turn to come back and cross them in the opposite direction. This means that this exercise requires more of an acute bend. This is alongside the proprioceptive challenge, as some poles are raised and others not, and also the challenge to core stability as the horses lift the limbs to negotiate the poles. Try to complete an equal number of bends to the left as you do to the right. In exercise 5, you complete a series of circles to make your way down the line of poles and cones. I try to position myself at the first cone and then ask Elsa to make a circle around me. I try to encourage her to cross the poles as part of her circle. This means that the circle is not too small, but it also includes stepping over the pole and therefore the extra core engagement that we're looking for. I try to aim for her to pass through a different pair of cones each time she moves down the school. This helps to regulate the size of the circle. At the bottom of the school, we make a change of rein and then complete the circles on the other rein. Exercise 6 is a little trickier and one that we've only just started to work on. My aim is to cross the poles with some lateral movement. Then, once I've reached one side, I try to return to the other side, again with some lateral movement in the other direction. As you can see from the video, Elsa found it easier to move laterally with her forelimbs rather than her hind limbs, especially to begin with. To make it a bit easier, I took the cones out of the exercise so we didn't have to worry about crashing into them on our way to the next set of poles. I also found it easier if I faced Elsa. This meant I could encourage her hind limbs to move more laterally. However, I definitely think it's something that we need to continue working on.